Welcome to another CEO Wisdom podcast. It's been a while since I haven't done one of these, been quite heads down. We have my friend Rick Tocquigny with us today. He's an author. His book's called Truly Significant. He's a PNG alumnus, international board member. He's a mentor, brand architect. He's a radically candid host. That's a podcast called Success Made to Last, a Legends podcast. He's a Pulitzer Prize finalist. I'm interested in discussing this. And a Texas A&M grad, a rock drummer. I just bought myself an electric drum, Rick, so maybe you can give me some lessons there. But welcome to the pod. Tell us a bit more about yourself and what I missed about that introduction there.
Thank you, Charles. Good to speak with you. And just a note to our audience, Charles runs this great enterprise that helps other people. And he has helped me in many ways in our short-lived relationship. And I would say the other things that just by the numbers, my wife and I just celebrated our 50th year of friendship, not marriage, friendship. And so it's incredibly important for you young people out there, or even old people out there, that to build your relationships based on friendship first and in a sense of humor. And then we are just passing the 4,000th episode of Success Made to Last Legends. And I think I have now reached a point where I'm having a difficult time remembering all the guests that I've had on because of the sheer number. So, but that's been a great accomplishment. And then I would say we're going through our own renaissance here in Austin, Texas, from a musical perspective, because I'm in a new band, and it's called the Truly Significant Band, and it's got a Latin soul to it. And every Monday, I'm just kind of lit up and in the flow, as they call the flow of science, or as you would speak to it, where you just lose yourself in the moment of music. And it's all so good and so healthy.
Oh yeah, yeah, I can relate to that. I mean, I'm not like an accomplished or good musical artist, probably like you are, but yeah, I just lose myself in music, even if it doesn't sound good. Like I just hit these random notes. I try to reproduce some tracks that I hear, and my brain stops thinking, right? Like there's no thoughts when I'm playing music. And it's also interesting, the rhythms, right? Like I think humans are wired for rhythms, whether it's the heartbeat, the respiration, and all of that. And there's something to it. I don't use it to put myself in that flow state, but definitely to stop thinking and to sort of transition in between the work period of my day and like getting to bed. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's one of the things, folks, that Charles has taught me in a short period of time, is about getting into the zone and focusing so much on that and quieting your brain. And music and playing in a band happens to do that, even though it's in contrast to a very loud electric guitar or bass guitar right in my left and right ear. It gets you into this zone where you're so focused, and it's so precisely what you should be doing at that right time, right place. It's so therapeutic. There's no other description better than that. Therapeutic.
Right. Talking about friendships, have you made some friends from your podcast, Really Significant? And yeah, how do you make your friends nowadays? What are your values? Like, how do you sync up with people?
That's a damn good question. My friendships have grown exponentially because of podcast. One of them I'll cite is we interviewed Dr. Philippe Boissou, who was a protege of Steve Jobs. And Steve had picked him to start Apple.com, which, look at the numbers, people, they do $25 billion a year. But imagine, Charles, you and me, if we were sitting across from Steve and goes, let's cook this up together. How do we reach people to sell iPads and iPhones, da, da, da. And he has become one of my best friends. And he is the king of alignment. He runs a company called Blue Dots. He's a fellow drummer and just a dear friend of mine. And then I count so many others in that same realm. I count you as a friend, not because we did a podcast, but because we've got this journey started together, and now it hopefully will head toward you being a father someday. That's been the greatest benefit of podcasting, getting
Right.
to know people.
How's been fathership for you? Like any lessons or tips before I dive heads first into it?
You are asking all the right questions, my friend. Yes, be present in the moment. Don't treat your children like a line item on an Excel spreadsheet that gets 30 minutes a day. Be present. And then I think teach them core values in a very natural, organic way. You don't sit down and go, today we're going to learn about integrity or grace. Just exhibit that as their role model, their golden role model. And then I think in retrospect, my daughters learn how to be storytellers, and they learn how to be creative and imaginative. And we always, if there were a couple things that we pounded in their head, it was what Albert Einstein said, which is imagination is more important than knowledge. I really believe that. And lo and behold, both my daughters have turned out to be storytellers.
Yeah, I think like creativity is neuroplasticity, right? So
Absolutely.
knowing something, sometimes it's like hard in stone and you don't want to move it. You know, it's like these sometimes too scientific people, very skeptic type of people, right? They don't want to move grounds. These people are pretty much terrible to interact with, and no one wants to really hang around them because they're just stuck in a version of the past, you know. So I think that's really important. How did fathership change you, and were there other big events in your life that you can remember that also drastically changed you?
Yes. It changed me because I realized that the chasing of a title and my ambition should be redirected and channeled toward the benefit of my daughters. And so I went from me to we. And I cried like a baby at the birth of both Heather and Jennifer because I sat there going, this is a miracle. And it was a miracle.
It
So that
is.
changed me. And then becoming a grandfather has been that next leg, because now I see my children having children, and what a beautiful thing it is. And we can just hand them off at the end of the day and go, here, now bathe them and get them to bed. And we're going to go back to our place and we're going to enjoy our life. But what two grand events, becoming a parent and becoming a grandparent.
And what about other events in your life? For example, on my end, I could think of when I became a digital nomad, traveled the world. When I first became an entrepreneur, that was life changing, right? Like, were there other big events in your life that changed you?
I would say it's the amalgamation of 108 different countries, because every time we go to a new country, we will sit there and listen and go deep into the culture, eat where the locals eat, speak with them, get their stories. Every single trip is transforming. So travel to us is priceless. It's the source of all great stories. Just like you just came back from Brazil, and even though you're itching from the bugs down there, you've got some great experiences to tell your children someday.
Yeah, Brazilians are amazing, and Brazil's not what I thought it was. It's an advanced economy, you know, and they're quite self-sufficient, independent. So they really got me thinking on various levels there. What about your podcast? Why did you started it, and how did that change you?
Great question. So over 4,000 podcasts. The most common thread is not about celebrity or notoriety. It's been humanity. And whether it's a CEO that's breaking down in tears, describing his personal failure, or a missionary talking about almost dying in Costa Rica, or a war veteran like Oliver North explaining that love, not medals, and his family is the most important thing that have carried him home. Those are the most important things. So it's regardless of fame or fortune or title, everything has been about man's pursuit, man or woman's odyssey, and where they're going and what sort of purpose and intention they desire for their own lives. That's been the common thread and the big
And
lesson.
how do you get your guests on? Because one, it's not everyone that lived an interesting life, right? Like most of us are quite average and just like comfortable. And second, most of us aren't good at actually remembering and telling us a good story, right?
Yeah.
So how do you pick out your guests?
Um, in the beginning, it was networking through the P&G Alumni Network. And then we started getting requests from publicists and PR firms for people to come on and talk about their book or initiatives or nonprofits, da da da. And now we're so linked, almost hand in glove with all these PR firms across the nation. We get 35 requests every day to be on the show, and somebody always wants to sell something or inform us of something. And most of the time, our team just looks at it and goes, well, what's truly significant about this person? And in the case of you, you had such a great story that resonated with us. And then we found out you and your wife were expecting. Case closed. We got to talk to Charles. So it's just what's truly significant to us now is, do they have a story that has some legs in it that other people will find useful and resonate with?
And how do you get the most out of these guests? One, so that they don't recitate or resuscitate the same story that they'd said on a podcast right before you again and again. And two, so that it is actually interesting to your audience while they're listening, because some of them just go over and over again and can't just like be concise and sum stuff up. So what are your best interviewing techniques there?
We think that we ask the best questions of the top 1% of all 3.2 million podcasters out there. We, after 4,000 shows, we've got it down to a science of, we listen to their answers to some of the initial questions, we're writing it down, and then we dig deep. So if someone's talking about some of their atomic habits, we go, well, how do you keep the saw sharpened? And we know from you about, you're an athlete. You have an athlete's heart and a mentality, and you go out and you run on the road, or you're in an Ironman triathlon. And so that's the kind of stuff that's interesting. What's the story inside the story? And we just bear down with the best questions.
Yeah, I guess like one, be your audience, right? Like I'm a founder. I know that founders and CEOs listen to my podcast, and that's what I am. I know that they would be interested in the stuff that I am. That's an easy one. I see a bunch of podcasters that are not their actual end audience, right? And that's a huge disconnect.
Yeah.
And then I guess, preparation, like you mentioned. I personally use chat GPT and deep research quite a lot to research about someone. So that's the technical part, but then it becomes about being in the moment and active listening and the human part, right? Like just referencing what they said and bringing like a new twist and spice to it, I would guess. Like, I don't love discussing boring stuff, right, on my end, and I want to bring the fucking spicy stuff on top as quick as possible so that people
Right.
can learn something new, right?
That's right. Exactly. And I like the portion of most of our shows that will be a rapid fire questions, and we force the guest to answer with one word. And what's interesting about it is that most people don't speak with brevity or clarity anymore. So I said one word. Why don't give me a paragraph on this? So if I say, what is the one song that epitomizes you, or one song from the Beatles that represents your life and your career? What is it? And then they go, I don't want to know about the Led Zeppelin. I'm talking about the Beatles. And if they go, I can't then I move on. But you either read them right and then they start to entertain by virtue of their stories or how they answer these questions, and then you go from there.
Yeah, my answer would definitely be come together to your question. And yeah, my ultra that I just did, I have a song that represents the ultra, like just for background, right? Like my dad, he did his master's in marketing of music, so like music has always been
Oh my gosh.
into me on my side. So that's a very good that's a fine question. And I like the part that it the question that you asked for brevity, it uses a different part of the brain. What I don't like sometimes in podcasts is that people filter out the question, right? It's like, how can I come up as better looking as possible? Like provide you a good PR answer
Yeah,
to your question. And
that's right.
I haven't found like a way to bypass that other than winning people's trust quickly, speaking in non-professional terms, sharing some of my stories before they actually share that. Like how do you actually bypass that filter, that PR filtered people that they don't want to tell it as it is, they want to tell the polished version of it, which is boring.
It is boring. And we basically vet them before the show. If they're going to come on and just BS us with some sort of polished answer, they won't make it on the show. They won't make it. And you can smell it from a mile away when someone sends out a media package and they give you the questions that you want to ask. Nope. No
Yeah,
scripted
yeah, yeah.
questions. No scripted questions from any PR firm. We got to get down to the real stuff because, like I just last night I gave you a name, Ron Resnick, who was um, an, an executive at Intel. You're going to love interviewing him, and he's going to come in with no preconceived notions or intention of any sort. He's going to answer Charles like in storytelling form. So that's um that's that's what we should be striving for. Entertainment and illumination of our audience, because the audience is the hero.
Right. Who are the some of the most interesting guests that you had and some of their most poignant stories, like some stories that really marked you deep down and changed you?
Frank Blake, who was the CEO of Home Depot, worked for President Reagan and President Herbert Walker Bush. And in his White House staff role, he would see President Bush on Monday mornings getting up on his typewriter and typing out personal notes to people that he caught people doing things right. That kind of Ken Blanchard 1 minute manager deal. And there was a particular key that looked like it was raised because it was such an old antique typewriter. Well, when Frank became CEO of Home Depot, he would write personal notes to people out in the store for something good that he found. And there was one particular store that took that note of his and they couldn't believe it was real, and they poured iced tea over it and then rubbed the signature to see if it was for real, and it wiped out this beautiful personal letter from Frank Blake. When Frank visited that store again, the store manager told him that, and he says, "Would you mind if you rewrote that note to me again, because I destroyed it. I didn't really trust that was an actual letter from you." And the moral to that story is that how powerful is an encouraging word to people. How powerful. Just taking a little minute to say, to encourage someone, lift someone up, and recognize something right that they did. That's what I love about stories from podcasting.
Yeah, and that's sometimes all we need, right? Like me and my ultra, sometimes like around the end, all I needed was just like someone, a support at the aid station to give me food and give me like, yeah, you're almost there, like when we're at the brink of despair, and God knows that there's a lot of people on the brink of despair. Like life is hard, right? It's not made easy. Yeah, sometimes that's all we need. Truly significant, right? And significance in life. I think I asked you that question before, but did your podcast change your definition of significance, or did it reinforce what was already there?
Because of the people that we interviewed, I would say it shifted my perspective on what's important in life from success to significance. And if you start to just interview enough people and curate the right stories, you're going to start drinking their Kool-Aid. And it's about giving and not getting. It's about we and not me. And so now I'm the evangelist of significance. I don't own significance. I just talk a lot to people about it. That's all. And let them read the stories in Truly Significant, the book, and you can buy it at trulysignificant.com. But read about Jane Goodall and what she did in her life, and read about Dr. Gladys Ziku Soka in Uganda and what she's done in her life. And they just made decisions, to make a difference in other people's lives, and the money somehow flowed to them without them being over commercializing of their talents.
Yeah, that was my next question. Do you feel that you're more in the we phase because you made it in the I phase earlier in your life and you were more selfish and you could make more money that way? What is the percentage of I and what is the percentage of we at this stage of your life?
Who taught you to ask great questions?
Curiosity.
That was a beautiful question. The percentage right now is, I would say, shifting like the sands on the desert. And it better be at 80% we and 20% me.
Wow. I would be
And
the other way around, by the way, like
I
80%
understand.
I, 20% we.
I understand. But you are at a different age and stage, and you've got added responsibilities coming up that will direct your ambition a certain way. That's great.
And I'm
The
saying that because I think when I leverage my own biology, right? Like I leverage testosterone in the name of the we. Um, I'll just like be prompted to make more money. In my mind, it would be for selfish reasons, but it ends up like being for my family, right? My immediate circle, the we, then
Yeah.
my community. Well, my family first, then my community, then the world. I do consider myself a generous individual, but I do leverage a lot of my built-in individualism and ego to fetch for the community because I've tried the other way around, like make the world a better place, and that I felt that was not motivating to me.
Yeah, it's thank you for saying that, because it's something that you have to find for yourself. I hope that people don't think that we're prescribing significance. All we're doing is saying learn about it from other people and then find your own way. And at some point in someone's life, they're going to choose to volunteer for something to help other people. Great. Do it. See how it feels, how it makes you feel, but see how giving to others really helps the other people. That's all. Discover it for yourself and recognize it as early as possible.
Right. I think yeah, volunteering is next level, right? The experience and truly understanding like why this is important because me, I give a lot. Again, I leverage the individualism, which is like make big amounts of money and then I take this money and I give it to charities. It has
Yep.
an impact for sure, but yeah, I need to do a bit of volunteering as well, which goes against my time obsession, right? Like, but I'll definitely do more of that. Rick, what's next for you this phase of your life?
What's next is rolling out a podcast with the Texas state government, Truly Significant Texans. And then we're going to hopefully go deeper into that with 22 million people that are involved with agri-life here in Texas. And then we want to roll out Truly Significant as a book series on a state by state basis, and even within corporations. And the byline to the book is Conversations with Big-Hearted People. So we want to be able to find big-hearted people across the landscape of Fortune 500 companies and do specific projects with companies. So tell people about that. It's about finding the best of the best within a company and then engendering this culture, corporate culture of authenticity, of really truly giving back, because it's the way we are. It's not a core value that's written up on a wall for someone to subscribe to. It's the way you are naturally to give to other people.
Love that. So that was